this week's seam finish will be double stitched seams.
Alright, now this week's weave, like I said, is the double stitched. Now, you're probably not going to use this one as often, but it is very useful for knits, for transparent fabrics like this mesh I have here, for any sort of fabric which is a no-fray fabric where you need a very clean, simple sort of finish. Now, the other benefit to a double stitch is if you need to put together things that are really gauzy like this, it goes together very quickly. I tend to use this a lot for Monster Garb because you tend to see a lot of weird fabrics in Monster Garb. So it is something that you should keep in mind. Now, the other nice thing about a double stitch seam is that it goes easily inside of an enclosed or bound seam, as you saw in the previous video. Now, how you want to do this is you want a 3/8 inch seam allowance, which for you metric fans out there, that's about 10 millimeters. So you're not going to trim it down after that as well. So what you'll do is very, very simply, again, you will want a straight stitch, about a 2 millimeter length to it. I tend to keep my tension at around 5 for this. Sometimes a little lighter, sometimes a little heavier, depending on the fabric I'm using. And for mesh and gauze like this, my foot pressure tends to be around a 4. If you have an adjustable foot pressure on your machine. Each brand is a little different, but that's how it is for Husqvarna Viking machine. Anyways, and again, you just nice straight stitch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that down to a 3/8, just so that it stays nice and clean. And don't be afraid to trim down your seams. It just keeps everything prettier looking. And then what you will do, if it's going to be in an enclosed seam, you're going to sew your second line of stitching 1/16 of an inch away from your first line of stitching, which is about a 1/2 millimeter. Or if you're using a transparent like this, you're going to do your second line of stitching 1/8 of an inch away, which is what I have this set up for here. Okay, and let me just cut my threads here. And of course you would not be using chartreuse and orange thread here, which I used for visibility. But when you open it up, it gives you a nice clean finish, which is not too bulky. And like I said, great for transparent fabrics, as well as for knits and things that don't need a lot of fancy things and aren't going to fray on you anyways. Well, that's your seam finish for the week. Thank you, guys.